Thank you, everyone, for being on tonight. This is a Protect Wealth Academy Summit. This has been going on for multiple years. I don't know. We started it well over 10 years ago, this whole series, and we've had such great experts on over the years. Just in 2011, we've had Clint Coons, Jill Banner, Chris Johnson, Gene Guarino, just to name a few. Scott Estel, former senior trial attorney from the IRS, has been on a couple times. Mike Koval has been on a couple times. And we've got some really exciting webinars coming up in the next few weeks. We've got John Anderson, an estate planning attorney, talking about, especially with the new administration threatening to raise the estate tax exemption. There's some things that we can do. And it is sort of, I'm sorry, uncertain times that we're living in because of the volatility of the tax situation. We're not sure where capital gains are going, income taxes, but especially estate taxes. And where estate taxes can take between state and federal up to 50% of your estate over the limit. This is an important thing to watch. So we're going to be talking about that. And Steve Sumption is, he's been practicing law for 40 years, and his main specialty is dispute and mediation resolution before it gets to a lawsuit. And he's really good and has some really good insights on how to resolve disputes before we get to, arbitration, mediation. What can we do to avoid lawsuits? And again, great insights. We're looking forward to that. And then cost segregation with Steve Ruff. We've had Steve on a few times before, but again, with the uncertainty of the tax code, there's so much that we can do to help people save money on taxes and reduce, or I'm sorry, increase some of their tax deductions right now by using cost segregation, giving them more money to invest. We're kind of excited about the upcoming events, and then my whiteboard over there says that there's a whole bunch more. So pay attention to the webinars, and then all of the webinars are recorded, and as it says there on the screen, they're all available on our YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed to that, we encourage you to do that. So you'd go to YouTube, type, you all know how to do that, and then type in Protect Wealth Academy. And this screen will show up. If you will hit subscribe, then every time we post a new video, including the one tonight, it'll be available. It usually takes about 24 hours. But this will be recorded. Tonight's webinar will be recorded. And by tomorrow sometime, it should be on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't been to a 3-day asset protection summit, we really excited. We really invite you to go to our website and take a look. We're an incredible lineup of speakers, and we've got the schedule coming up where we've got 2 live stream events, one in June, one in October, which we've just added, and then a live event. This will be our first live event in over a year and a half. It will be in Orlando. Later on in November, there'll be another one in Las Vegas, but we haven't even started taking registrations for those. We are taking registration for live stream number 3 in June and for Orlando in September. Live stream number 4, you won't quite find on our website yet, but those first 2 we are taking registrations for. So if you haven't signed up for one of those, we invite you to do that. And then you can get the full agenda at our website, protectwealth.com. And then when you have questions, that's a horrible picture. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe that's how I look. But every Thursday at 11:30 Mountain Time, we do an open Q&A. And so we invite you to participate in that. Bring your questions, and let's see what we can do on the asset, tax, and estate planning side to answer your questions. And then I'll let Josh go through a disclaimer. From our end, we don't give tax, legal, investment advice. We teach general principles and let you meet with professionals and let you decide how to best act. So, with that, let me kind of introduce the topic and why we brought Josh on. Insurance is such an important part of a good estate plan, a good asset protection plan, and not just insurance the way that we normally think of what happens if something bad happens, but how do we use insurance to build wealth? There's so many, almost all the wealthy people that I know are using insurance of some kind, not just to mitigate risk, but to build wealth. And a lot of people don't really understand the value of that and the value of an insurance, a really good company that you work with that can see the whole picture. Um, Josh has written a couple books that I really, really love. The insurance industry is so fraught with, oh my gosh, there's so many innuendos and so much freaky language that you really don't understand, and it's a mystery. I'm telling you, I'm in my 60s, and it has baffled me all these years. It's not an industry that I understand, and I think that's somewhat on purpose. Josh has added so much clarity with the books that he's written. I love his writing style. I love the eloquence that he has when he writes, the clarity. And so we've asked Josh to come on and teach and try to get through this jungle of how much and why and what kind, and talk about insurance from a very practical standpoint. So, Josh, with that, we're delighted to have you on. Thank you for taking your time for our students. Josh has been one of our students for a long time, but somebody that we respect and we look to a lot. So, Josh, can turn time over to you, and I'll be back when it's time to answer questions. But you can go ahead and share your screen now and give us a little of your background. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Let's see here. All right. Seeing my screen okay?
I can see it great. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, you're seeing my mug up on the screen there, and a little bit of my history. Tonight, I'm gonna go over a pretty concise outline so you can follow it. Step by step. We're gonna talk about the 3 keys to wealth tonight. Specifically, I've got a long history with being an entrepreneur and, a family guy. I have an engineering background, over 31 companies. I'm a huge Protect Wealth fan too. I've been involved with them for years now. But at the same time, I've coached a lot of people, and I've got a lot of experience in the insurance and protection industry. And so John has asked me to come on here tonight and to really describe for you some ways that you can, learn these keys to wealth in what you do. And so that's what we're going to explore tonight. And so I'm excited to share, and I can't wait for you to understand these principles like I did for the first time. So I appreciate you joining us. Really appreciate Don. And just for a disclaimer tonight, we're not really giving advice specifically. We're going to talk about generalities, and we're going to get professional advice from those that can specifically talk into your situation. So go ahead and get an appointment with us or someone else that can also follow through on some of the things that we talk about tonight. So the first one we're going to talk about is literacy, and not just any literacy. The first key to wealth tonight is financial literacy. That literacy is the ability to communicate in such a way that it demonstrates that you have the mastery of financial concepts. It's found with those people that pursue lifelong education. And that's what Protect Wealth offers. We pursue this lifelong education. And we're going to go in tonight the categories of the offense, the defense, and the playing field of finance and protection. And so the first thing I need to introduce you to is this concept that Michael Dell introduced. It was back in 1999. It was a while ago, but he described for us what any organization might have. He talked about content, commerce, and community. And in this case, he says if, most businesses can do the content and commerce thing pretty well, but it's the community where they fail. And it's loyal community that we're talking about. And specifically tonight, we have options for content and commerce, but Protect Wealth brings a specific community. And you're on that webinar tonight to join that community. We've joined with Protect Wealth to offer our consulting services that have to do with protection. And we're going to go through that tonight. But before I do, we need to talk about a literacy thing on offense. I read a book, and some of you have read it. You've heard of him, Robert Kiyosaki. I know Gene Garino knows Robert, I think. And so this book it changed my life. Right out of college, I read it, and it taught me the offense side of finance. And it really defined for me protection even a little bit to begin with. This left side of the quadrant is 90% of the people making 10% of the money. These are employees, self-employed business owners, but they carry buckets, so to speak. So they have to trade time for money in order to earn it. And so that changed me, and it put me into a new light and a new perspective. And so tonight, specifically, our content that has to do with those two ways to make money is we offer to those folks in those two quadrants 100 plus companies, personal protection products, and personal consulting to go along with those ways to make money. And so Freedom Consult, we teach you and we consult with you on all of these types of personal protection, and you can kind of see them flowing through there. There's all kinds of things personally that you might need to think about when it comes to protection. And we're going to really hone in tonight on just a few of these. And so the first one I really want to talk about is homeowners. And so a lot of people are really confused. And I know Don mentioned it, like it's kind of confusing, and you kind of feel like they almost make it confusing on purpose. Well, I'm going to kind of brush through the weeds a little bit tonight, just in the homeowner section, because I think it's really important right now. Specifically, right now, you have an issue with building costs, and building costs are going up radically right now just because the construction materials it takes to build them. And so when you are insuring property today, you really need to understand, and you really need to take a look at how you're doing that. There's a couple ways that I'm just going to outline tonight: replacement costs and actual cash value. And so those two different ways that we're looking at, you need to understand that building costs, as they increase, then therefore the value at which you insure property will also go up. So if you look at your policies today and you say, well, you know what, those numbers haven't changed that much over the last 5 years, that might be cause for concern, specifically due to the rising cost of materials. I know as a builder myself, I as a wholesaler, I actually wholesale products in one of our companies, and I know that those prices have went up, in some cases, lumber 100%. And so that becomes an issue for you if you don't understand how to insure and protect yourself wisely. Replacement cost is just what it says. We're looking at to try to replace a value, either that or 20 to 25% more than that number that you give your insurance company or your protection policy. Actual cash value is something that a lot of real estate guys look at, because they don't necessarily care about replacing it so much as just getting a cash payment depreciated over time, because they're not as worried about replacing it, but maybe just putting up something different. And so that's just some basics that you can look at. But the climate today requires you to pay attention to that. The other thing you need to look at is a personal umbrella. Do you need it? What are the benefits? What doesn't it cover? Why would I do it? Well, in this case, it protects you in times of lawsuits. It deters a lawsuit from having, it can take away your assets, a lawsuit can. So your first line of defense, just like Don said, is a personal umbrella policy. And so when your policy limits get hit on your basic coverage, your umbrella can come over on top of that. In this case, most of the time, it's usually your homeowners and your auto insurance. And an umbrella is just that. It really goes over the top of, liability-wise, those type of specific coverages. What doesn't it cover? You're looking at it: personal belongings, Business losses or business-related liabilities, written or oral contracts, damage that you cause intentionally. And so these are the things that kind of restrict you with that type of coverage, but definitely something that you should look into. Specifically, this will give you some examples, like, what's been invested in before. Well, in this case, individuals that have assets, a potential loss of future income, you own a business, maybe you coach youth sports, swimming pool, maybe you're on a board of directors, you ski, surf, or hunt, you own certain breeds of dogs. These all crop up with liability concerns. And so in general, those are the folks that we usually try to make a recommendation for. Have you thought of an umbrella for your liability protection? And so you should consider it. What about life protection? This is another form of defense. So we just went through some personal protection defenses. Now we're going to go through life protection defense. So we put up defense in our lives. So if we're out there playing offense and we're earning money financially, we need to put up defense. We need to also play defense on all of the things that we earn. And so defense in this way is life insurance. What happens if something happens to you, and who's paying for your funeral if something happens? What about those outstanding medical bills, debts? What about your income? Like, how is that getting taken care of? Well, you need to play defense there. The other thing that's really cool about life protection is that beneficiaries can receive income tax-free from a correctly programmed life policy for you. Did you know that only 55% of people have life insurance? The really other odd percentage is that 69% of people have car insurance and 79% have home insurance. That's really odd. Why is it that the one insurance that's guaranteed to happen, life insurance, because we're going to die, why is that the most unfrequently bought policy out of all of those? It really should beg the question, maybe we don't understand it. And so today we're going to go through a little bit more of that and to talk to you a little bit about this, because I actually just got off a call 2 days ago with a customer, and they didn't even know the difference or even know why that they would even think about life insurance, because they thought it was just something that, I'm not going to die yet, so why am I going to worry about it? And that's the worst thing that you could do, is to wait until you die. So in this case, we're going to talk about term life and permanent life fairly quickly. I'm going to kind of go through it pretty quickly. Most of you know, but some of you don't. Term life expires. 95% of the time, it never pays out. 95% of the time, term life never pays out. But yet still, we plan with term life because the 5% of the chance that it could pay out, you need to protect yourself with it. But then what a lot of people don't understand is you can convert term life on current underwriting, meaning your current health. When you get it right now, you can convert that permanently, and you can earn that credit when you first get qualified for life insurance. And usually that's a better qualification than later in life. And so it makes sense to buy term life. Another quick story, just so you know. Had a customer the other day, a 69-year-old was just getting ready to expire their term life. They were just going to lapse it and just get rid of it. Turns out we could convert that, and we're going to go into vehicle settlements and stuff like that. You can actually convert that policy, sell it to an investor. So your term life becomes an asset to you when you can convert it and sell it to an investor that will pay your premiums and then give you a cash payment for keeping that life insurance for so long. It's something you need to understand. Do not lapse your term life policy. You need to definitely determine whether or not you should keep it or not. Just a recent customer. You know what that customer did with the payment, by the way? They had recently contracted cancer and didn't have the money to pay for the cancer treatments. The money coming from that sale, that viatical sale, paid for the cancer treatments. You want to look at term life. Okay. Health protection. Number one cause of bankruptcy today is unpaid for medical bills. So you definitely need to look at this. If that is the number one cause, is just due to lack of adequate coverage when it comes to your health, it's one of the most important things to look at when it comes to protection and putting defense against all of your wealth that you've accumulated. definitely need to check that out. Health insurance is an important thing. And I wrote a book on the senior side of health insurance. Don talked about it. It's called Medicare Personalities. We do a really fun sitcom caricatures thing. It's a fun-loving book. You could check it out. It's a pretty short read, but anybody that's on Medicare should grab a copy of this. You'll have a fun time reading it, and it'll make it really clear and easy to understand. Life and health protection. When you put these two together, our company analyzes what you're currently doing as a whole for both life and health and personal protection. And we say to you, you know what, as a whole, here are the things that we can teach you how to do maybe a little bit differently than what you're currently doing to provide maybe even a lower cost and at the same time, maybe a more vast benefit for you. And so these are some of the things that we do, just some examples, but we do very custom built solutions for you. So the next item in the C's that Michael Dell talked about is content, but with the business side, business and commercial protection and business consulting. And so what's the difference between commercial and personal protection? Well, on the commercial side, you've got a business entity, and you would treat that differently than your own self. And you could treat yourself as an entity, and you can treat your household as an entity similarly. But you really look at it from, okay, I've got a business, maybe I've got employees, there's certain property, liability, workers' comp, all these specific things, and then very detailed, specific protections that we can recommend for what you specifically do. You know, we recently talked to some people about some very unique businesses that they're in. And so it becomes more of a critical conversation when we talk about those things and how we protect them based on what they're worried about and what the risks are. Personal protection on the other side is really just, you got to think about what's yours. What are the things in your personal life that need protected? And that's really the difference that we're talking about there. A commercial protection is really a lot more detailed, and you're seeing this stuff come up on the slides, and you're seeing this. Wow, there's a lot more stuff that you got to look at. Every specific business niche, every specific thing. There's a good chance that there's something that you might miss, and it's not really intended that way. It's just there's so many different businesses. There's so many different risks to insure. And so we have a specific way that we analyze these protections. We have a checklist that we go through, and we ask them very specific questions. You know, what keeps you up at night? You know, what are the things that you're worried about? What are the risks you think you might incur? And then we even come in and say, you know, did you think about these risks? And what are you doing about these? I've recently looked at quite a few declaration pages, and that's the list of coverage that you would receive in these multiple types of insurance protections. And I just ask them very specific questions on coverage. Do you think do you think that this might ever happen to you? Well, yeah, that might happen to me. Are you worried about coverage for that? Well, yeah, I kind of am worried about coverage for that. Well, you're not afforded it on this specific policy. So if you do want to do something about that, you might want to go back to your current agent and tell them to add it. And so we do those type of things, very similar to what a Scott Estel would do with your taxes. You right? A Scott Estel would grab a hold of your taxes, and he'd analyze it, and then he'd give it back to you and say, go do that. Right. And so that's a very similar situation that of what we would do to help you too. And so property, liability, workers' comp, protection, these are things that come normally with a package that you would purchase with a business. And so, like I said, we try to specifically address each individual market and industry. And so let's move back into this protection, and let's dig into a very specific one on umbrellas. And so similarly with the personal umbrella, a commercial umbrella fits over a multitude of products. And so in this case, it might not just be your home and your auto with your personal, but on the business side, it would fit over your auto, it would fit over your employer's liability, which would be workers' comp, your general liability, and that liability would all get boosted up with an umbrella policy. And so that's how that works. And so what does it not cover? Well, similarly, you'll understand that, you know, property coverage is not afforded, errors and omissions, professional liability type situations, and any expenses that are already covered under the underlying policy may not be covered by that. But you definitely want to take a look at it, because if you are worried about your assets, it really is your first line of defense. And depending on how much you need and how much assets are in the business, we would specifically talk about that with you. Let's go into another protection and another line of defense, but it almost moves into a little bit of offense here, and I want to describe why that is. As an employer of over 100 employees, I see a huge benefit in group benefits, even down to just only 2 employees. I mean, I've got companies that only have 2 employees in it. And we can use group benefits to really be not only a hedge of protection and a defense for us and our employees, but it's almost a little bit of offense too. And the reason it's offense is because we're providing something that maybe some other employers don't even have or can offer. And so now you become a competitor in the market to offer better benefits and keep employees. And so this is a really important thing to look into. 401ks, dental insurance, health insurance, supplemental. These are all things that you can add pre-taxed, which is a huge thing. And so like if an employee says, I want to spend $50 a month on some specific coverage like disability or dental and vision, if it's pre-taxed, you're the only one as an employer that can do that for them. And when you offer that where they would try to go buy it individually, it's way cheaper through you as the employer. So you definitely want to take a look at that. And there's some other really cool things about group benefits that you can provide as an employer, specifically some guaranteed issue type things, because of a group policy allows you to offer some things guaranteed that they couldn't maybe get outside of your business. So it just really creates a competitive advantage for you. And you're definitely going to want to look at it, even all the way down to 2 employees. Some of these supplemental things that you can add don't even cost you money as the employee or the employer. All you have to do is pass it on to your employees and they can choose it voluntarily, but you're providing a huge benefit in the meantime. So what about another way to take on some offense? I really love the idea of a business valuation. And why would I use this? Like specifically, we have a lot of companies. And so I really look at this as a competitive edge on what Freedom Consult can offer. And so, what does it look like? Many times, banks will ask you for, financial statements and different things that they want to see something in writing. Like, what do you actually do? Show me something, right? And so a business valuation can really do that. It gives you a report, valuation methods, financial summary, key performance indicators, and you just look more like a professional when you take a valuation of what you do. It also allows you to have a good tool to market your business, analyze some of that data that you've got, and they maybe even communicate to some of your key business partners on, hey, look at what's going on. This is great. Or maybe there's something here that we can tweak to make it even better. And so that's something that we do offer and that you can inquire about. So what about that second key to wealth? The second key to wealth is leadership. Leadership is the ability to influence others. Leaders are readers. They're influencers. They're people that they intend to have a force for good. They want to make the right decision. They execute really well. They plan on doing. Leadership, I think the quote is that there's very few that actually do what they say. And each of us at some point will be called upon for leadership. And the question is, when is it going to be for you? And so being equipped and being ready is what really matters. And so that helped me transition my mind from only understanding an employee and self-employed mindset to really expanding my vision towards the next level of income earning, which is the next level of offense that we're going to talk about in this financial literacy. And so what I understood was that there was a way to create pipeline income where only 10% of the people can make 95% of the money, but it takes leadership. And I know Protect Wealth does a really good job of bringing some great people in that talk about creating pipeline style income. And a lot of them have websites, or they show you how to save money, or maybe they do real estate, or maybe they even teach you how to trade. There's a lot of great companies out there that I'm thinking of that Protect Wealth sponsors that is great for you to be able to learn how to get into that next 2 quadrants. But I think we need to understand something about the financial system. And the financial system, with what we do today, not only do we have to understand offense and defense, but we need to understand the playing field. And so what we've developed is an app. And that app is designed for you. And you can kind of see my family there. This is my little segue. We've got my wife and 4 kids there. We've got 3 girls and a boy, and we're just apple of our eye, right? And we're super excited. But you can see there on my phone, there's an app. We've created this app, and so you can click on it, and it takes you to the website, and you've got your own personal login. And that login is really designed to communicate with us because Freedom Consult exists to be a consulting firm for you to transition what you're currently doing into a different way of thinking holistically about all of the things that we can help you in protection with. Specifically, it would look like protection consultations, scheduled meetings, secure files moving back and forth so that we can look at things securely for you, and then even a debt-free roadmap, which I'm going to go into. This other company that we've partnered with that you're going to have access to is their mantra is to have fun, make money, make a difference. And this is something that we're just going to offer. We partnered with this company. They've got trip credits. They've partnered with hundreds of national brand names and Walmart, Best Buy, Home Depot, Kohl's, Disney. They've got a saver application that you can use. And so this becomes part of this application that you're going to have with us. It also includes virtual currency, referral bonuses, and things like that. But where we come into this partnership with them is along with inside their app is we teach people how to get out of debt. And inside of that, we will also refer you to what's called the Life Accelerator, the Financial Fitness Program, and Rascal Radio. And that all becomes part of how we can make a difference, is teaching these 3 keys to wealth, protection, and then really teaching people about money and understanding that leadership takes all people. And most of you know this by now, but we all have about 86,000 seconds in a day. So the question for me to you is, when it comes to protection, how are you leveraging your time? All of us have the same 86,000 seconds in a day. So what are you doing to teach yourself? And how are you leveraging things and tools in your life so that you can become better? And so that's what we do, is we consult on that through this app, and it's amazing. But the other thing I need to talk to you about is that some of you might feel like that the financial system is rigged against you. Well, it is. And then some of you might feel like that the financial system is taking advantage of you. It is. And you might have wondered if there's anything you can do about it. Well, there is. And so I want to describe to you the first time I saw what the path I was going to take out of engineering school looked like. So when I got out of engineering school and I started pursuing, other endeavors, now I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have multiple businesses. And I first saw this for the first time, and it really hit me in the face. The average American household, 95% of the population live this plan. It's called the 45-year plan. Maybe you've seen this before, but you get your first real job, at 20, and you kind of work your way up, the ladder. You get your real job, and you kind of stick with it, or you're in and out, but you're hovering around the $50,000 mark. And then at retirement, you're looking at what? Maybe half to 2/3 of the income at retirement, if you just follow that same 45-year plan that everybody thought was, the golden years. I think that's not the dream that we always thought would be great. And so when we're talking about all of these things together, what Protect Wealth, I feel like, does a really good job of, and what I hope that we can provide to you also, is the thought process about finances and money, but at the same time to tell you that this is what most people are looking at, and you need to be thinking about a different way to go on offense. And we want you to learn how to do that. And specifically, that leads us to the third and final key to wealth, which is leverage. And not just any leverage. We're talking about leveraging systems. And when you understand the difference between working for money and leveraging systems for money, that's what makes the difference between what you're going to do next. And so learning this allows us to put a multiplier and a scale on how we're able to grow. I once heard a quote that said that if you have a lever big enough that we could move the world, if we can practice these principles on a slight edge a little bit over time, then what you're going to do is you're going to create a lever in your life. And I'm going to talk about a very specific one tonight. And that's called business banking. Everybody should be in two businesses, no matter whether you're just an employee, self-employed, or maybe you've reached the other side of that quadrant, and you're a business owner that's creating residual income. You're in real estate. You need to understand what creates your revenue, and you also need to create what finances that revenue. And most businesses, because I would consider your household a business, and you should probably treat it like that, that you should be in two businesses. And those two businesses are reflected in what people have done in the past. And you can look at these characters like Walt Disney and J.C. Penney, Doris Christopher, Ray Kroc. These folks use the power of compounding interest to be the lever in their lives when they needed it most. And you need to understand how this works. Most people do not understand money and when it comes to leveraging systems. And the difference comes in when you understand the difference between cash and finance purchases. Most people don't understand that they're paying a cost, whether they pay cash or whether they finance things. They pay a cost either way. It just depends on how expensive the cost is. So we all start at zero. And so zero begins the question, are you going to save up the money in cash and then spend it down? Well, then you have an opportunity cost because you lost the ability to earn compound interest on that cash when you did that. Now, when you finance things, you immediately go into debt and then you have interest over time to pay off that loan. That's also an interest cost. So why wouldn't you pay cash for everything? Because you can't earn compound interest. What the wealthy really understand is that they understand that they can create compound interest over amortized interest, and the difference is where wealth is created. So when you pay with cash for things, you give up the opportunity to earn compound interest. When you finance things, you give over amortized interest. And I need to prove to you a math point since I'm an engineer. Compound interest minus amortized interest is where wealth is created. You've got to use this lever to your advantage. Here's how you do it. Let's take $50,000. If you compound that at 5% over 5 years, you've earned $13,800 in interest. If you take that same $50,000 from a bank loan to you at 5% interest, that's amortized interest, and that costs you $6,600 over 5 years in interest. The difference between those two numbers is $7,200. If you can earn compound interest while you're paying amortized interest, then you win this game. You need to understand how to do it. And we're going to describe that a little bit tonight and how you can use that lever. I've got an example here of a normal American couple that, have gotten into a little bit of debt. They've got a house, they've got an auto, they've got, a car, furniture, Discover. And what really came out for them is they had about $180,000 in debt. But what really that meant, because they didn't really assess the interest cost, that was $380,000 worth of debt after interest was accumulated. We showed them with this idea of compounding interest while getting rid of the debt. From 30 years, we could get them out of debt in 7.8 years, saving $122,000 worth of interest, along with freeing up almost $2,200 in cash flow. Over 30 years, that's $1 million. You need to understand why you should be out of debt. I don't really care if you're in good debt or bad debt. Debt is bad. And the quicker you can get out of it using compound interest against the amortized interest, the more cash flow you're going to have. Let's talk about Joe. Joe is a business owner. Same, very, very similar situation. More debt, actually, 2.1 million, $26,000 a month in payments going out, average 4.8%. We got Joe out in 6.4 years, saved him $270,000 worth of interest and $26,000 freed up in cash flow. In 28 years, that's $10 million to Joe. I think it's important to look at the difference between compound interest and amortized interest. Debt elimination. Look, there's 4 ways you can do this. You can just keep doing what you're doing, kind of lost without a compass. You don't really have the understanding quite yet of how to get rid of that debt. You're just kind of flowing with it. You may try to go engage a financial advisor, but most financial advisors don't really care about your debt. They really just try to take what you have, put your money at risk, and then you end up living a compromised lifestyle, and they get paid whether you win or lose. Mike Koval's a great one to talk to you about this. the other thing is the advice of financial celebrities, they may not have your best interest in mind, but then they also ask you to sacrifice to save at a taxable at-risk retirement, and then you're left with no cash flow while creating an opportunity cost for you because you're not collecting compound interest. Banking does both. Banking allows you to have guarantees, a structured process, and then leverage to eliminate that debt and improving cash flow while planning for retirement. It makes sense to take this approach. I even wrote the book on it. I know Don was talking about it, and I'm just trying to just clear the weeds. Let's talk about life insurance because that's where it sets. It's really the only product that you can have both compound interest fighting against amortized interest at the same time. You can use your money twice, and you need to know how to do it. That is the lever that you can use today in your finances. And we go through that in that book, and you can grab a copy of it. I'm really passionate about it because true wealth can really be created, and you can take off on the rocket ship and you can get that exponential that you're looking for by just taking this idea, this specific leverage idea, and focusing it in on your life and specifically using it. I really appreciate Protect Wealth. And the reason why is because it's the longest running wealth protection event in the nation. They've organized and accumulated this brain trust of amazing individuals that can be offered to me and you. So if this is your very first event, it's the very first time you've ever been on like one of these webinars or a summit or anything like this, stick around. Go to everything. Figure out a way to make the time. And because you're on this tonight, I'm kind of preaching to the choir. But talk about everybody and your friends. Everybody needs to understand the information that Protect Wealth has. Specifically tonight, we are engaging you as community, which is the biggest key in Dell's 3 C's. A loyal community creates buying power, and it can influence the country. And so we want you to understand that on what we do, what Freedom Connect does, is we teach you the offense, defense, and then understand the playing field you're on when it comes to finances. But how's it work? Well, like I said, we've got an app. You literally have the app that connects with us, and you will get information, specific leadership information, specific analysis on what you're currently doing with your protection products, and then really determining where we can take your business to the next level. And like I said, we've partnered with this other company that basically, pays for what we offer. Through savings. I was going to show you, like, there's an app on my phone. Like the other night, it was great. It's just an added feature. I accessed the app, and we were at Texas Roadhouse the other night, and we got our food and everything was done. And we literally got on the app, bought a gift card, and immediately got cash back. And I think it was like 5% and whatever the bill was. And we immediately just handed her the gift card. She took off with it, checked us out, and I immediately saved 5% just right off the bat. And then there's coupons you can add to it, and just a really great add-on and service that we provide that I think is going to be a really great thing to create buying power. The other thing is really understanding that we really want you to get out of debt, but we want to take you to the next level of consulting. And so that's really where it sets. So some of you are sitting on the call tonight and you're wondering, well, what do you like? How do I engage with you? And how do we do that? Well, we have some packages tonight. The intro package that we have is really just a debt-free report, and then a 1-hour strategic planning session with our advisors to really take analysis to the next level of what you're doing. Look, I get it. It was so funny the other day. I was sitting down with my oldest daughter, and she was sitting on the couch, and literally she picked up her leg and looked at her foot, and she had this sock that she just like these socks. She just loves these socks. Like, she's absolutely loves the socks. They're comfortable. They fit just right. And they just, how you have those socks that they're just really good, right? She had some holes in them. And so she was so frustrated. She's like, I don't want to throw away these socks. I want to keep them. And now listen, like, it's not that we can't just go buy her new socks. Like, she just likes these socks, right? And so I think that illustration provides to you the point that I'm trying to get to you tonight is that, look, you have advisors already. You didn't get on this meeting tonight coming in here and saying, Josh is just, the Freedom Consult company is just going to take over everything we do. No. No, you have some best friends. You have some advisors you trust. You've got relationships. We don't want to really touch that. We want to consult with you to find the holes in your socks. We want to find the holes in your plan and then show you where they are and then turn you right back around if needed to those people you know, like, and trust. And I really would like to make that happen for you tonight. And I think that that's part of that intro package. Normally, we charge $5.99 for that. But the next step is really where the heart of it is. The personal package is including all of those things above, along with the app and things like that. But we also give you this Life Accelerator program, the 1-year access to all of these other memberships that, like I said, are really easy to use, and you're going to save money just by doing that, and the cash back and things like that, and then a money back guarantee. This Life Accelerator and this membership is really where the rubber meets the road. This is where leaders excel. What we're providing you inside of our package is a university on wheels. Like, there's 3,000 different talks. There's multitude of different leadership professional, personal information to help you personally get better. It's your education on wheels. We're providing you with leadership financial education through this personal package that you're not going to find anywhere else. It really built me, along with the Protect Wealth system. From 31 companies, owning over 100, having 100 different employees. This leadership information that you're going to have through this personal package, along with us consulting on what you do, normally would be about $8.99. But then the business owner package, this is the person that has multiple businesses, or maybe just one business, and they're wondering, okay, what about my personal? What about my business? How do I do both of those? And what is it? It's $14.99. And so that combines all of that together, along with that digital library. And we're excited to offer that tonight. But tonight, specifically, because you're a member of this global community at this point of Protect Wealth, we're going to offer that for $2.99 for the intro package. We're going to offer the personal package for $4.99 and the business owner package for $7.99. And that's for tonight only. And, I know what you're thinking is, wow, that's pretty inexpensive. I know the first time that, I attended an event, there was some sticker shock for me when I first got started. And I was like, oh my goodness. But like, our heart tonight is really to make this affordable in a way to where you can get connected with information that you're not going to get anywhere else, but then also a level of consultation that you're not going to get anywhere else. And so partnering with Protect Wealth as a community is really our heart. It's what we want to do. So before you just say no, because I know what Don says at the summit, if you wait 72 hours, the chances of you actually taking action on your future diminishes extremely. And so tonight, what I'm asking you to do is take us for a spin, take us for a test drive, because at these prices, we're offering this in a way that pretty much everybody has the ability to pursue. And try it, because I know what's going to happen. When you invest in your future and then you start investing in this information and investing with us for the next thing that you do, you'll never have regrets. And so your no doesn't become a nothing anymore. It becomes actual results produced through these 3 keys to wealth. Super excited to share with you tonight. Like I said, if you just go to protectwealth.com/planning, you're going to be able to get this app. And then our motto really is to have fun, make money, make a difference. And tonight I'm going to ask you, I really would love for you to share your story with us. There's a bunch of folks on the call tonight. If you want to email us your story, what you've had hard times with, like what are the things that you've been successful with? What is it? What's your story? We want to hear your story, and we want to just really serve you in that way. So we're super excited, not only to be able to offer this along with Protect Wealth, but to really hone in on, consulting with you on what your protections are, where we can go from there, and then showing you some leadership principles along the way, and saving some money too. So Don, that was the 3 keys to wealth. And so I'd love to bring you back on and and discuss with you maybe any questions that we had tonight.
All right. So we've got a question from Todd. Where's the app?
So we actually send you a link. So when you register, you're going to get the app. It's on. You can use it on iPhone. You can use it on Android. You can use it on your computer. So we're literally going to send you the link when you're registered with us, so that we have your information.
Okay, he can't find it on Google or iTunes. So is this a private kind of thing?
It's a private thing that it's a private thing. So like we send you the link, and then it's set like when you actually, I will show you once you get the link here. So you can see this probably still, right?
Yes.
Yep. So down there, like on the Freedom Consult app, it's a white labeled app just for us. And so at the bottom, they'll have like an install link when it shows up on your phone. As soon as we send you the link, and you'll install it on your phone. So once you're registered, you will get a link, and then you will be able to download that app directly on your phone.
All right. Tamara, how do I get a copy of the Life for Life book?
Well, what's cool is based on your subscribership, you get those in ebook form on the personal package. So your personal package, you automatically get those books.
Good. There you go. And I have read this book, and it really does make the insurance industry, the convoluted insurance industry, very, very simple to understand. I really love that. Yep. Thank you. All right. Question came in on an email. Cash value versus replacement cost. I understand that for rental properties, but talk to me about homeowners for your personal residence. With values going up in most markets, which one is better? If I've got my house leveraged, if it's paid off, how does that make a difference?
The first question I have to ask you is, if something happens to the house, what do you want to have happen thereafter? Tornado hits it, earthquake rocks it, gets wiped off with flood. What happened? Like if your house is just gone, what would you do after that? That determines for me my first question. So if you say, I'm going to rebuild it just like it is, we're going to go to replacement cost. And some carriers offer guaranteed replacement cost. Guaranteed replacement cost says, boy, if you have that on your policy, it doesn't matter what it takes to replace that house. It's replaced no matter what the number is. There's some carriers that offer that, and we'd have to consult with you to talk to you about that. So there's guaranteed replacement cost, and then there's replacement cost.
And cash value
is if you just want to take the depreciated number and you're going to work off that number, then that number is what you're going to get. So the higher you can get that number to the number that you want it to be, the better.
Cash value is the least insurance that we can get then.
Correct.
Replacement cost would be the next level, and then guaranteed replacement cost would be Premier.
That's the Cadillac plan.
There we go. Okay, good. Anonymous is asking, how do we order if not ready to purchase today? Well,
I think that with the low cost of entry, if you have to sleep on it, I get it. But, I've got a money back guarantee. So we're offering that tonight. If you're not happy and we go down that road, I'm just asking you to trust me. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to engage. And I know that, Don has sponsored us in this way to offer something that's really valuable to folks. And so I trust that what we do is really going to be a benefit. And so your socks are going to be knocked off tonight with your ability to engage with us. So
we've known Josh a long time, and I don't get to know a lot of the students. I see them, I get to know their names. Sometimes if they've been on a cruise or multiple classes. But when you flew in your private plane or your helicopter into Indianapolis, that kind of turned our heads and went, oh, who's this guy again? Oh, we remember Josh. Josh is the real deal. I don't know anybody that is on top of his businesses like Josh is. he understands this. And anyway, so I don't know how else to help you, anonymous. Okay, so the next one: if you buy rental insurance for the tenant, how do you know what amount to insure? Oh, that's a good
It,
question.
it is a good question. We usually generally give a certain amount depending on square footage, so anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 just on property coverage, and then liability coverage. We pretty much have that set in stone based on what we know we need if something were to happen. So I'm not going to specifically engage those level of questions because everybody's a little bit different. If you're just renting a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, or if you're renting a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, those kind of discussions, might be different, but we tailor that to what we feel like we personally need, but can definitely be offered. It doesn't have to be required, but we definitely, they could reject it, I guess, is what I'm saying. But with what we do, I think it's a valuable add-on to our tenants.
Well, I love looking at your beautiful wife and your wonderful children, but go back to the other screen about how they engage.
Okay.
There we go. Oh, no, next one.
Okay.
There we go. So I don't care either one. So there's the options, but you would go to protectwealth.com/planning. We've tried to make that as easy for you as you can, as we can. Protectwealth.com/planning. Okay, now go back one and walk through one more time what they're getting with each package.
Yeah, super low cost to entry. Obviously the first one is you're going to get time with us, and you're going to get your own debt-free report. That's the kick the tires, folks. It's like what I know is that my approach is if I can get you out of debt in 9 years or less, including your mortgage, along with planning around your other things, that 299 is nothing compared to that information. And so we want to show you how to do that. The next package is that's where the rubber meets the road. We want to create a university on wheels for you so you can learn these 3 keys to wealth while you're doing and you're recapturing your time. We want you to save money on what you're already doing, but then at the same time, we want to help you get our materials. So as we produce more and more materials, I'm in the process of writing another book right now. You're going to have access to that ongoing. I'm going to keep adding to my library. And so you're constantly going to have access to my additional information. And so we're going to have strategic partnerships along the way that are going to be really important to you. And you're going to want to have access to that. The business owner package, we're really trying to plan with you because we have these memberships and these relationships with these other business owners. If you've got a business yourself and you would like to be on that partnership with us, maybe you want to promote yourself. Maybe you want to say, hey, in my area, I'd love to promote our business. We can add you to that, and you can be a part of that club to basically offer your services through there. So that's the business owner packages. Number one, we want you to come to us with your information, and we want to see if we can find the things that you might be missing. But then at the same time, I can show you the business banking approach. Just, an off-key example. We took my current yearly expenses on a normal year. We used the banking concept with those expenses over a year, and we saved 20% of our cash because we leveraged compound interest in the idea that I just gave you. So if you understand that and you're a business owner today and you're spending $1 million in expenses every year and you don't understand what I just said, you should totally get the business owner package, because literally I will save you that amount of money just with that one idea, let alone everything else. You need to understand it. You need to understand this leveraging system, like what we're using it for ourselves.
Okay. And forget the code that's on there. Just go to protectwealth.com/planning.
That code is the same code that's on there. So
yours is too complicated, buddy.
Sorry.
No, I got it. Okay. Todd says, I have the money, but it's in silver. Do you take silver coins? JFK's 1964.
Depends on how many of them, but one would probably do, I'm guessing, at this point, depending on value.
Yeah.
No, I love it. No, it's great. Absolutely. Yeah, let's talk about it for sure.
All right. With that, Todd, or Todd, Josh, I appreciate you being on tonight. I'm still talking to our student here. Any closing remarks? Um, Insurance is such a critical piece of a really good estate plan, a really good asset protection plan. Any closing remarks?
Yeah, when I look at business owners, and even before I was a business owner of so many companies, the employee and a self-employed quadrant, for me, really, that's where the heart of it is, because protection becomes so important in the early stages of growing wealth, because protecting what you earn at the early stages is way more important than those that have way more in the future. And so for those folks, like, my heart, and I want to go there, and Don, my closing remark would have been GK. GK's seminar was his freedom seminar. Like, like a lot of my companies have freedom in the name. And so I'll never forget, like, go to a summit. Like, the next time they have a live one, you got to go to the summit. To see the freedom mentality that this group and this community has. Freedom is where it's at. When you go to bed tonight, protection is what allows you to have that freedom. For the very first time in your life, you might be seeing this information. You're like, well, Josh, I'm not really that worried about insurance. Well, you won't be until you need it. And that's not the time you need to worry about it. To really set you free, we want to help you understand that financial freedom comes at a price. We want to make it an efficient price and a very consultative approach to make sure that you can sleep at night. But then at the same time, we need to teach you the principles and the tools that you may have not even ever understood that you could leverage. And so tonight, that's what I'd leave you with. This community, Protect Wealth, and what they do is empowering to you in your future. So don't miss a thing. Plug into everything. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like, when I stopped and I said, well, yeah, I got the money, but I didn't do it. That may have cost me 6 months because I didn't pursue something. Because that one time I said no, it probably cost me 6 months of the information that Clint Kuntz would have gave me, or that one little tax tweak that Scott Essel could have gave me that changed my life and changed my finances because he told me. And Mike Koval just being able to, trade our wealth right now is huge. So plug into everything.
Thank you, Josh. You know what? For those of you that are new to our community, we believe in the Constitution of the United States. We can talk about limited partnerships. We can talk about corporations. We can talk about the courts, but none of that matters if the Constitution fails. Think of the rich Jewish people that lived in Germany. It didn't matter what legal structures they had. They just killed the people and took whatever they wanted. The Constitution has to stand. We believe in that as a foundation. On biblical principles, that's the foundation. It and so, Josh, thank you for being part of this tonight. We're going to try to get GK back on live with us when we come back to Vegas in November, and he lives close to that, and it'll be fun to have him back on. Anyway, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you sticking with us till the end. Josh, love the information. Thank you for sharing with us tonight. For everyone on the call, thank you for being here, and have a pleasant evening. Good night now.
Good night.